Alright, so we're going to get started with the virtual machine offering that is called Compute Engine in GCP. And get initially started, let's look at the console and looking at create instance interface. And the moment you reach over here, you can see the region, zone. Pricing also populates based on the instance type that is selected over here. You can choose to kind of change the instance type based on the requirement, and prices will also get updated for you. Generally, if you look at configuration, right, you will see that you have general purpose, compute optimized, memory optimized, and GPU available directly to attach to instance. Memory optimized actually has large machines going into TB, so ultra memory giving you about 11.5 TB of memory in it. Uh, then you have this hyper and mega memory, so pretty big machines are there in this category. And then you have compute optimized, right, which are smaller machines and available uh, for also use standard use cases. And then you have general purpose, which are comparatively small machines, also around this. Now, besides this, you have some options in terms of configuration. You can enable confidentiality, but this is not available for all the VMs. What this does is, generally, if you look at it, right, your volume will have data at rest encrypted. So, basically, if somebody takes a volume or attaches to another machine and use it to get the data, they can't do it because of the encryption part of it. This also does in-memory encryption. So even when the machine is running, right, data in the memory is maintained encrypted, and that's the beauty of this, confidentiality service of it. Now, other than that, you can choose your OS from here, right? So you have Debian, and by default picks up CentOS, and lot of most of the common OS images you'll get it. You can also get custom images. So if you've created something of your own, maybe you've installed your tools and all, and you want to always use your image, you can save it and you can just pull it from here and launch your VM. If you have taken a snapshot, you can do create a disk out of it also and boot it. And if you have an existing disk without a VM which you had retained it in past, you can use that also to start your VM. Service accounts, we'll talk about it later, not now. The firewall, you can just enable these options right away in configuration, so you don't need to change it from the network firewall service settings or create a firewall rule for it. So commonly required HTTP and HTTPS are available directly from here. Now under the networking section, we get the capability to select the network, right, which we want. So from default, you can change it to whichever network you need, and also select the subnet if you have more than one subnet in that region. You can choose to get a dedicated private IP on it, so in case you stop and start the VM, also the IP doesn't change. And you can also choose to have or not have a public IP. So this is an option thing where you can choose between. Now, other than that, you can add additional data disk over here. There's a comparison available of different disk types, which you can see. So you have standard and SSD. These are the two ones which were there originally when GCP started with, and now they've expanded with adding balanced and extreme. So you have a choice, and you can choose based on the performance requirement what kind of volume sizing you need. Uh, Based on the size of the volume and machine type, also the uh, performance would change over here. So it will change, right? So you can see the difference now. Okay. So, so based on the CPU and the disk size and the volume type which you are using, combination of it would drive what kind of performance you will get, right? So these are some of the things that is there in it. Now, besides this, volume types can be either local or zonal. So if I go to my disk option over here, I can choose to either create a regional disk or a single zone disk. Single zone disk is only in a one zone where the VM is there. Regional disk can replicate itself in an alternate zone. So in case the entire zone goes down, you can still take that disk and attach it to a new VM and use it from there. So these are some capabilities which it offers. Okay. By default, it is always encrypted. You can choose to use your own key or you can provide your own key. So choose in the senses you have a service which is called KMS service in GCP, which is key management system. So you can generate a key over there and use it over here. So that's your customer managed key. Supplied keys, when you directly provide the encryption key over there, right? So that's disk options which are there. Coming back to VM, I think it's open over here. So right. So security wise, you have secure boot, turn on VTM and integrity monitoring. Now these three basically help your VM to be safe. In the sense is, if your VM gets compromised in terms of a malware or something like that, right? These services will stop the VM from booting and hurting other VMs. Generally, what it does is, it has a signature of the volume boot, and if that signature changes of the boot, right, it will not allow it to come up. So that's some capability which is built in with it, right? Now, okay, so what is policy? We'll talk about that in the next video.